Miami, 2,000 square miles, home to millions of creatures from raccoons to reptiles. But just one police animal services unit dedicated to animal emergencies. The team of 20 animal control officers respond to over 150 calls a day. From dogs in distress to seriously large snakes. When duty calls, the ACOs are ready for action. It's early morning, and the animal control officers are out patrolling the streets of Miami. Officer David Jordan is the first to respond to a police patrol who are at an address in northwest Miami. A neighbor has complained about a dog with an injury to its neck.
We're not able to make contact with anyone at the residence.
So it seems like nobody's home.
It appears that way.
On closer inspection, Officer Jordan recognizes that the dog's neck injury will need urgent medical attention.
Well, it's definitely a case of cruelty here. Pretty severe case of, if not cruelty, definitely neglect. I see some swelling around that area where it suggests that possibly some, maybe an abscess has already developed around that area. So, you tried the siren. She wouldn't open up with the siren or nothing.
This last-ditch attempt at getting the owner's attention gets no response. There's a possibility that the owner may be in trouble inside the house.
Bye.
Without authority, this ACO is powerless to do anything.
Well, I've just been given authorization to go ahead and enter the property and remove the one dog that's injured. All right, how you doing, sir? Sorry.
The police officer tries one more time. And to everybody's astonishment, is successful. The dog owner, however, appears oblivious to the commotion happening outside. Officer Jordan questions the dog owner.
How long has Neck been like that?
I noticed it in a week.
You noticed it a week ago? A veterinarian has seen him since he's got this big old thing on his neck.
No, not it just happened.
No one has seen him?
No.
Are you willing to surrender the dog to us today? Because he can't wait till tomorrow. You know, realistically, he can die overnight. I need you to sign this paperwork here.
The owner concedes that her dog needs treatment and signs ownership over to Officer Jordan.
Thank you. Okay, is Barney friendly enough for you to bring him out? You think you'll be able to bring him out and I can pick him up and put him in the truck? Because I don't want to put a leash on him.
Come on, Barney. Come back, girl.
Despite neglecting the dog's welfare, the owner finds facing up to the reality of losing her pet distressing.
For Barney's injury, the county requires that you issue a citation of $500.
But this citation might not be the end of the story for this neglectful pet owner.
Right now, the case is going to be turned over to our cruelty investigators. They will make the final decision on whether or not she'll be arrested.
In Florida, animal cruelty carries severe penalties, up to $5,000 fines or time in jail. And while Miami cooks, Animal Control Officer Kathy Labrada receives her first assignment of the day.
21 QSK.
It's one that all ACOs dread, an aggressive dog.
It's easy to forget how nasty and how aggressive a dog can actually be. A lot of times they're just cute and fluffy and they're friendly and happy and they'll come up and lick your hand. But when they're the opposite, they're really something to contend with. It's a bad feeling when you've got a dog, teeth bared and snarling and charging at you.
Officer Labrada arrives at the address southwest of the city. On entering the property, the situation that greets her is all too familiar to this experienced officer.
Want the cookie? You're a good boy. No, I'm not. The owner of the female dog called in to complain about an aggressive male dog that's been attracted to his dog who's in heat. And he's being extremely territorial and possessive over the female. He's not letting me anywhere near him. Look out, Harry, I'm telling you.
Wisely, the police officer at the scene stays safely in his car while Officer Labrada uses cookies to lure the aggressive male towards her catch pole.
You want the cookie? Good boy. Yeah, it's yummy. Good boy. One more and I'll have him. Call the other dogs off. You're all right.
The dog thought that love was on the menu. Instead, he finds himself with a 3-foot catch pole around his neck.
Knock it off.
He's not going to make this easy for Officer Labrada.
Wanna try it? Just yeah, just lift. It's not as easy as it looks. Good Lord. Thank you. Stop! Can't take it off till you stop.
The dog appears in distress, but Kathy knows the catch pole is designed not to hurt him.
Thank you. Let me breathe for a minute. And I got words for this guy, too.
When animal services have trouble with Florida's exotic creatures, they recognize that it's a job for experts. And so they call upon the services of commercial trapper Todd Hardwick. He's known for battling with some dangerous predators, risking life and limb to help protect Miami-Dade citizens. And tonight's job is no exception. It's midnight, and while the rest of Miami sleeps, Todd's been awakened to deal with an unwanted guest at a farm southwest of the city.
Looks like he's pretty upset. He's been walking, he's irritable, he's mad. I'm tired, I'm irritable, so this ought to be a fair fight.
Earlier, Officer Kathy Labrada was called to remove an aggressive stray from an address southwest of the city. The dog was behaving territorially towards a female in heat tied up in the backyard. Kathy managed to restrain the dog and now takes the opportunity to enlighten the dog owner about basic pet care.
Hello. Do you speak English? Oh. Okay. My Spanish isn't too good. ¿Dónde está la casa por el perro?
No, yo lo tengo en un cuarto por la noche y por el día lo saco para ahí.
Oh my God! Look at the water. Look at the water. No, look at this. No. No. Get the water. They can't drink that.
Eso es claro.
No, look at it.
No puede tomar agua.
She just drank that water. Dump it out. Give her clean water. Stop it. The issues here are irresponsible pet ownership. If you're going to own an animal, you need to provide wholesome food and water, shelter, and just in general provide for the animal. And it's clear that they're not. It's obvious that she's had puppies in the past. Instead of having her spayed or keeping her inside when she's in heat to prevent that from happening, if they've got her tied out where any male that's roaming in the area can breed with her. Much better. That's the way it should be. How many puppies?
Una vez 13
Oh my gosh.
y 7.
13 puppies one time and 7 another.
Y 7.
You should have her operated.
Okay.
Then they'll do it for free. And that way she won't have any more babies.
Officer Labrada hands the owner a warning.
None of the dogs on this property have a current rabies vaccine or county tag, so I'm issuing warnings, allowing 30 days to go ahead and bring the dogs up to date on their vaccinations and tags. Sign here. That's one dangerous dog off the street, and hopefully a little education went a long way for the dog owner here, and that's the best I can do.
Kathy leaves hoping that the owner will heed her suggestions on pet care. Yesterday, ACO David Jordan was called to rescue a dog with a severe neck wound, much to the distress of the owner, whose apparent neglect has left the dog in need of medical care. The next day, the investigating team, Sergeant Charlie Day and Buffy Jorgensen, are in early to check on the terrier. The vet had to stitch up 1-inch deep lacerations around the dog's neck, where the collar had embedded deep into the skin.
How long did it appear that this wound or injury had been here? It was
1 2 months.
1 or 2 months. And it was definitely not treated. There was no signs of any...
It's vital for the team to quiz the vet with his expert medical knowledge to help them build a cruelty case against the owner.
Looks like he was tied up.
She's clear here, just a few
Well, she
scars
was on
here,
the
on the
bottom.
bottom. Like she was pulling against something. Maybe if she was tethered up high or something and she was constantly pulling at it.
After a thorough medical check, it seems the initial civil citation was too lenient. The dog's injuries are life-threatening, and the investigating team decide to press criminal charges against the dog's owner.
We're going to do the criminal charges on her, we'll do the follow-up and stuff, and then we'll go out and arrest her.
But before the team deals with the owner, they need to find the dog, which they've renamed Daisy, a place to stay. Miami has 30 voluntary organizations that help neglected dogs. Daisy is taken to Tri-County to recover.
This is Daisy. Hi, Daisy. She's about 8 months old. She's got a great disposition. She's a great dog. She's skinny. Very, yeah, she is thin. She's got hip bones back here.
After initial inspection, the prognosis is looking good for this unfortunate dog.
We hope Daisy doesn't have any complications from infections and that, but we would assume that if she doesn't have any in about 3 weeks, we should be able to place her up for adoption at that time.
It's often the case that a neglected dog will be inundated with fleas and ticks. The volunteers start by ridding her of the parasites that are sucking Daisy dry.
Good girl.
Cleaned and well-fed, Daisy's future is looking brighter. But is this enough to find her a new home?
The night gators are always the ones that almost get you.
Earlier, wildlife trapper Todd Hardwick was battling with a 9-foot gator that was discovered late at night in the parking lot of a farm. In the state of Florida, they have an increasing annual problem with alligators encroaching into residential areas. And this one isn't going quietly.
This is obviously a male alligator. He's got a hormone surge going through his body right now because it's peak breeding season. He's been walking who knows how many hours, and right now he'd like to do one thing, take out all that frustration on me.
In an attempt to get the gator under control, Todd tries to get a leash on him.
He's a bad boy, Wally Gator. Right now what we want to do is try to secure the mouth on this animal. If I think he's too big and too aggressive to use a catch pole, we're going to try to get a snare over his mouth and pull his jaws shut.
Despite the snare going on easily, this night gator has other ideas.
He's doing what we call a death roll. He's got the rope in his mouth. He thinks it's me, and so he's going to roll and roll and roll until, in his mind, he detaches my arm. But it's not my arm, it's the rope. Sorry to disappoint you, Mr. Alligator.
The gator hasn't managed to take Todd's arm, but he still slips away from the snare and is determined to continue his midnight walk.
Not what we wanted.
Just who will be the victor in this battle between these two alpha males?
Try to get your mouth safe, okay?
Todd makes another attempt to tie up the gator's jaws. This time, it looks like Todd has won the battle of man versus beast. But even with the gator's jaws locked, he's still not safe. Todd secures the jaw with tape.
All of the jaw crushing and closing power in a gator's mouth is in the closing action. Just crush a turtle. But once the mouth is shut, you can keep it shut with a couple of wraps of tape. But when it's open, it's like a bear trap ready to right down on somebody. In fact, we heard that same noise out here a few minutes ago. That was a lot of power coming together. Just imagine if your leg or your arm was in there. First thing happens, the bone is crushed, broken. Next thing, when he rolls in that death roll, he tears the flesh. The next thing is, boom, there goes an arm or a leg. Right now the problem is he's tired, but he's resting. Any moment his batteries are going to be recharged and he's going to be ready for another go-round. So I'm going to try to get his legs taped, get him secure, get him in the truck before he wants to go round two, because I don't believe in round two.
With the jaws taped up, Todd moves on to the legs. This gator is going nowhere in a hurry. 150 pounds of meat, hide, and muscle to admire. But for the farm residents, it's better seeing it on the back of Todd's truck than out roaming around their yard.
It was pretty cool. I mean, I actually see a gator up close. I tried to get as close as I possibly could before it actually kind of went crazy on me, so it just backed off.
It's a big gator. I'll be watching my step from now on.
Todd's 9-foot alligator is a danger to the public. His strong homing instinct would return him to the exact location where he was captured. So, under Florida law, he'll be humanely euthanized.
How long did it take?
Earlier, Daisy, a neglected terrier cross with severe lacerations to the neck due to an embedded collar, was rescued and placed at Tri-County Humane Society. 2 weeks later, Daisy's neck wound has healed, but unfortunately there's further complications.
All of her sutures have come out, and the wound, as you can see, has healed up very nicely. But now she has another complication. She's very sick at this point. We suspect that she has distemper. Apparently she was harboring it from being on the streets or unvaccinated, obviously. Her former owners, it was very apparent now that they did not take care of her. Her eyes are squinty, sensitive to light. She has a yellow discharge from her nose and eyes. And if you can see on the top of her head, she has this neurologic tic. You can see it pulsing on the top of her head. These are all symptoms of distemper. They come through this. We save probably about 50% of the dogs that we get with distemper. They'll come through it and they'll live happy, healthy, long lives.
Sadly, a few days later, despite all the efforts of the staff at Tri-County, Daisy took a turn for the worse.
We were trying everything we could, and last night when we came in, she was so bad that we had to make a decision, and she had to be euthanized humanely. I think Daisy had been through so much in her life. Everyone just wanted her to go into a good home where she could be loved and have a life she didn't have before we got her.
This unfortunate end spurs Sergeant Charlie Day and investigator Buffy Jorgensen to seek justice for this unlucky dog. Last night, exotic wildlife trapper Todd Hardwick was grappling with a 9-foot gator. Today, he's been called to an animal reserve 30 miles south of the city to deal with a deer in distress. Surprisingly, for a man who encounters daily the exotic wildlife of Miami, it's the humble deer that this experienced trapper fears most.
In the United States, captive deer kill more people every year than any other captive wild animal. Forget tigers, forget lions. Deer They stick people in the heart with their horns. They kick their head in with their hoofs. So even though we're here on a mission of mercy, there is great danger and potential risk.
The deer in question has wire around its neck, which if not removed will certainly result in its death. Todd needs to catch this highly strung creature before the vet can treat it.
Well, here it says 2 to 4 mLs per 100 pounds.
Anytime you try to sedate any hoof stock, there's a lot of risk. Deer are notorious for trying to die when you dart them. They aspirate, they stop breathing, the heart stops.
It'll require a tranquilizer dart to sedate the panicky deer.
Doc, I'm going to go ahead and try to take the shot with this rifle. This will be a softer impact on the animal.
The drugs need to be calculated carefully. Too much could result in a massive heart seizure. Too little, and everybody's efforts will be in vain.
Once I've darted it, and when we see things are going good, I'll either dart it again or we'll be able to move in. But we got to give them respect. The most important thing to remember, this is not Bambi.
Everybody is ready and in place, and it's now down to Todd to aim accurately. The deer move as one, making it very difficult for Todd to separate the injured deer from the herd. He aims, fires, and misses. He reloads for another attempt.
The deer are nervous. They're running up and down the enclosure. They don't have anywhere to hide, and they feel like there's a threat. They don't know what to do.
Two misses. This is harder than he first thought. Todd needs to come up with a more radical plan if he wants to capture this creature alive. Coming up on my... Along with the animal control officers, the ASU has a team of investigators devoted to cases involving intelligence gathering and enforcement. Today, one such officer, Buffy Jorgensen, has another possible cruelty case to add to her already busy workload.
Looking for a puppy that's tied. Apparently he's made a little hole in the ground for shelter for himself, but he has really no real shelter. There he is.
At the address in southwest Miami, Officer Jorgensen sees an all too familiar sight.
What's he doing?
A puppy without adequate food or water and nobody at home.
Poor baby. It looks like there's a little cardboard house that they've built for the animal, which for a day may suffice as shelter until it rains.
It's obvious from the woefully inadequate provision for this small puppy that Buffy has enough evidence to charge the owner with cruelty.
Doesn't make sense to me why they would tie the dog up here. I mean, they've got a long enough tether that this animal can receive proper exercise, which would be adequate, and it would comply with the law.
Officer Jorgensen's hands are tied. She cannot rescue the dog without the owner's permission. She can only make it more comfortable.
Thirsty?
Before leaving a warning for the owner. Several days later, having had no response from the puppy's owner, Officer Jorgensen makes a return visit.
I'm not comfortable leaving that puppy in that situation.
But at the house, the situation isn't quite what she was expecting.
Well, hi there. What happened? What happened?
Bizarrely, the very same dog appears to have swapped addresses.
This is the same dog. The harness has been taken off. Got a collar now. It looks like it's been placed in the neighbor's yard, where it's digging a hole to try to find shelter.
The owners still appear to be out.
Hello, anybody home?
So Buffy turns her attention to the neighbors, hoping they can throw some light on this mystery house swap.
Hello, Miami-Dade Police. I need you to come to the door, please. Animal Services.
The neighbors appear reluctant to get involved, but Buffy is determined to solve this puzzle today.
Hi, how you doing?
Is this your dog over here?
No.
Okay. How did the dog get on your property?
No, he just round him.
So a dog shows up tied on your property for you don't know how long, and you don't know how he got there.
No, I don't know.
Okay. Do you have ID? Driver's license ID?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to see that.
Lawfully, Officer Jorgensen can take custody of the puppy because it's been cruelly. At present, it has inadequate shelter and water.
Thank you. Are you going to sign the dog over to me, though, so I can take him out of here? The dog over there. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to play games with you, okay? I'm not stupid.
The woman is sticking to her story. But when Buffy goes to rescue the dog, she finds overwhelming evidence that the dog's been tied up to the house for some time.
The dog didn't just show up here yesterday. He's dug a hole right here to try to find, he's literally almost halfway underneath the house here. Come on, buddy. Let's get you some water.
Believing that the woman is not cooperating, Buffy opts for the strong arm of the law. She writes 2 citations for animal cruelty, in total adding up to $1,000 fine.
He's a tough little guy. He definitely deserves a second chance in a better home.
But only 1 in 5 puppies that the ASU pick up find a new home. This puppy's future is far from certain. It was only a matter of time before the barbed wire around a captive deer's neck would cause its untimely death. Wildlife trapper Todd Hardwick was called to sedate the deer. However, with 2 misses and time running out for this poor creature, Todd has to rethink his plan.
Even though it's a little more risky for us, I'm thinking that it might be best for 2 of us or 3 of us to go in the pen, try to get him up against the fence, grab his antler and hold him down, throw him down, whatever, and just cut the wire off without drug. Because he's excited now, the drug would be not good if we can avoid it.
Todd knows only too well how dangerous this proposal is.
In the United States, captive deer kill more people every year than any other captive wild animal. Remember, we don't want to get hurt. I don't think they'll separate.
Todd lassos the deer the first time, but then requires swift reactions to avoid colliding with it during the ensuing chase.
Broke the neck. No, maybe not antler, that's good.
With the deer down, the team knows that it isn't the sustained injuries that will kill this fragile creature, but the stress of the capture itself.
Okay, do we need to do anything?
The vet wastes no time disentangling the wire.
This is the real issue right here. See that? That's cutting into his throat, his windpipe, his jugular vein. If we didn't intervene, this deer would probably be dead within the next 24 hours.
The deep wound on the deer's neck is inoperable. They can only hope it will heal itself. The vet applies an antibacterial compound to the open wound.
Even though it was a lot more dangerous for everybody to be in here and do what we did, I think it probably saved the deer's life.
However, they've got to get the deer back on its feet for it to have any chance of survival. Daisy, a young terrier mix, was found with a 1-inch laceration to her neck. She was rescued, but died a few weeks later of canine distemper. On hearing the news, Sergeant Charlie Day and Investigator Buffy Jorgensen are determined that Daisy's owner pays for her actions.
A collar embedded in the neck is one of my major pet peeves, and for an animal to have to go through this type of suffering is just one of the worst types of cruelties that you can see.
They arrive to find Daisy's owner reluctant to come to the door, but they do find the gate wide open and an unchained puppy running wild.
This one's yours, right? Why are you standing here with the door open and everything else? It just runs free. They can get hit by a car and everything else.
No, because the lady, see, everybody keep telling me different things.
Okay.
The investigating team are anxious to find the collar that caused Daisy's horrific injuries. They hope its recovery will complete the mystery of how a dog can sustain such severe lacerations.
This is the one that was on the dog.
Yeah, both of them got the same color.
Yeah, but this couldn't have been it because this one doesn't even have any blood on it from where it was inside the
That's
dog.
what I was showing the man.
Police Sergeant Day shows the woman photographic evidence of Daisy's injuries.
Listen to me, you can't tell me you take care of your animal, and look at that. You love animals, right? How can something like that even happen, okay, if you love animals?
Sergeant Day has no choice but to arrest her.
Can't find your back.
Oh my God.
That's not something that happens overnight. You can't tell me you take care of your animals.
I'm gonna get transport for this dog.
Yeah.
615 ASU 50.
Daisy's owner was eventually given 6 months community service and made to pay a $5,000 fine. And even though Daisy didn't make it, for her kennel mate, the small brown puppy, his timely rescue led to adoption into a loving home. With 20 years' experience as a wildlife trapper, Todd Hardwick knows that dealing with deer can be problematic. Earlier, he was called to disentangle barbed wire from a stag's neck. Unable to dart the creature, he opts to lasso it instead. The vet treats the deer, but how effective his actions are, time will tell.
This deer back up as fast as we can. I feel we made the right choice on not drugging him.
Oh, so far so good. Everything's working out.
He's up fairly. When you put yourself at risk, you hate to see it not have a happy ending. And that was dangerous what we did in here. I wasn't comfortable with that, but I felt like we had to.
Lift the snag up. All right, everyone back off.
All right, clear, clear.
Unsteadily, the stag gets to its feet.
He's just a little stiff from us restraining his legs.
Within moments is down again. The team rushed to the stag's side and attempt to resuscitate it.
Anything with you?
They need a steroid shot to help them recover.
We're losing him.
But the stress has proved too much for this poor deer.
All right, we have lost Mr. Deer.
And as the buck's son looks on, the team resign themselves to the stag's fate.
It's just really sad to work hard as everybody did for a happy ending, and then to look at the little fawn staring at the buck on the ground. It's sad, but it's an outcome that we all knew was possible. Some days it's enough to make me not take on deer jobs.
Officer Buffy Jorgensen was forced to leave a warning for the owners of a puppy tied up in a backyard without adequate water. On a return visit, she found him tied to the neighbor's house in even worse conditions. She was able to rescue the pup, but a vet check reveals a parasite on the skin called mange that, if not treated, could be life-threatening.
I'm going to do what's called a skin scraping. They take a little bit of the skin, the top layer off, and look at it underneath the microscope, and it'll show you what kind of mange he has. It doesn't hurt. It's just the top layer of skin. It doesn't hurt him. He just doesn't really want to be restrained right now.
Some cases of mange can be cured by medication, but a small percentage don't respond to the treatment.
Good boy.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Doc.
It'll take a few weeks to reveal whether this pup is going to be one of the lucky survivors. It's 2 weeks later, and the Josak family are at Broward Humane Society to discover whether the puppy, renamed Oscar, has recovered sufficiently from his ordeal to adopt him.
Once we saw Oscar, he really liked them and he wanted to play with them, and as soon as he played with them, he looked at me and said, please. So
It's so funny.
But their happy day might be short-lived if Oscar doesn't pass his medical exam.
Looks really good. He's got, if you can see, his hair's growing back, so he's responding really well to the medications we have him on. Oh, he's a wild little thing. Come here. His hair is all starting to grow back in here. And the sores that were under his arms, if he'll let me show you, are gone, or going away still.
We already have his bed made up for him, and we picked out some bones and toys. It's pretty fun. I mean, we've been waiting for a dog for several years now.
But a clean bill of physical health is just half the story.
Father the bird.
Only time will tell whether Oscar's mental health has been affected by the trauma of his previous life.
This little guy hadn't come in with the story that he had come in with, being chained to a fence, living in a cardboard box. It is just devastating for any kind of animal, especially for a puppy. They have a very, very critical window of socialization. If we aren't able to interact with that animal during a certain period of time, then oftentimes they just don't interact well with people in the long run.
All right, there goes Oscar. Go home, you be a good boy. Good boy, Oscar.
It's a happy day for the Josak family. Their dream of owning a dog has come true. But how will Oscar cope with this change to his lifestyle? A few weeks ago, Animal Control Officer Bernard Perry had the unenviable task of catching an aggressive stray after it had bitten a small boy on the face. The family had an agonizing 10-day wait to find out whether the dog was a rabies carrier. Rabies is rare in urban areas, but all Miami ASU officers have to treat the threat seriously, as the rabies virus can be fatal for humans. Today, Officer Perry is visiting the family with the results of the rabies report.
Hi. Hello.
Hey, Nicholas. So how's he been overall? He's been good?
He's been Nicholas.
That's a good sign. Nicholas, let me see your ear, please.
Before giving the family the results, Officer Perry checks that the wound is healed.
Does it still hurt?
Yeah. It doesn't hurt no more? Good. Doesn't hurt it.
It's time for the results.
The dog was mainly euthanized and part of his body was sent to a laboratory for rabies analyzation. And it states here that they found nothing.
That's good.
The mother's relief at the news is soon replaced by annoyance that the incident had to happen at all.
I don't blame the dog.
Right.
You know, it was a dog that he was hurt. You know, he got scared. You know, it's not the dog's fault. If anything, you know, I would blame us even more for even walking by him. But people shouldn't mistreat animals because then they turn around and do things like that.
True.
You know, then they get mad, oh, you know, that damn dog, or, you know, but it's not their fault. Nicholas doesn't remember about the dog. He's just acting normal. I mean, like 2-3 days after, everything started healing, everything was fine.
If anything else, anything at all comes up, just, you know, like I said, be sure to call us. You know, we're always there for you.
Thank you.
I just want you to keep that in mind, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Officer Perry leaves, satisfied that the outcome was successful. Mentally and physically damaged from being tied up in a backyard, Oscar overcame his medical problems sufficiently to be adopted by the Josak family. Today, 2 months later, Officer Buffy Jorgensen, the ASU investigator who rescued the puppy, is visiting him with her daughter Haley.
I'd like to follow up and just see how the little guy's doing.
When Buffy arrives at the house, she's so overwhelmed at Oscar's transformation that she hardly recognizes him.
Is this the dog? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Pumpkin.
It's not just his appearance that's changed. He's now called Pumpkin.
I couldn't believe it. I saw him through the window. I couldn't believe it was the same dog.
And that's not all that's changed. Pumpkins discovered a new talent.
This is awesome.
My husband was telling his grandmother we only had cats, that this is the most wonderful dog he's ever had. He couldn't ask for a better dog.
Pumpkin can now live happily with his new owners, and he has Miami-Dade Animal Services Unit to thank.
The job is difficult altogether, but when you have a success story like this, it's absolutely wonderful. It makes it all worthwhile.
For today, it seems, everybody's a winner.